I think this is probably the second or third New Line film that we've talked about.
Yeah, it's been a long time between drinks.
Oh, well, I think the last one we did that was from New Line was The Mask.
Yeah, okay.
I always like these kind of fire going through the logo, slowly. I'm not too sure. I can't really remember how the first film did it. I think it was a similar kind of style.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic logos in video game history, the dragon logo.
It's come quite a long way with some of the revisions that they've done for it, and I think the series has had a couple of hard reboots since then, but it seems to still stand strong.
Yeah, it's a great. I've enjoyed revisiting Mortal Kombat this week. Yeah, it's quite a. I really like the mythology and the story all around it,
Yeah,
as we're recapping some of the key moments from the first film.
it almost kind of fakes out the audience in a way, isn't it? Like after seeing the first one, and because a lot of this, like pretty much, we haven't seen a new take just yet. It's basically recapping the first film, but the same stylized opening of the credits and all of that. It kind of does throw you for a loop if you've played the wrong movie. If you're actually watching part two, it's very very similar.
Yeah, and I just love when a movie does well enough to pay off a cliffhanger. The Shao Kahn appears in the final seconds of the first film, and you just sort of. I remember watching that as a kid and thinking, I hope it does well enough for a sequel, and it did, and here it is. As Shao Kahn will appear in a minute, but the Outworld invasion has begun. It kind of gets. Uh, I do enjoy watching this movie, but it's very unfocused, and part of it's because it's the first game and the first movie was really confined and focused at a small cast of characters. It was in one location on Shang Tsung's island, but this is a much more ambitious global kind of conflict here, and we just get an explosion of new characters. And and what I liked, because I think the trailer for this movie is really good, and what it does is hold back some surprises. I had no idea that Rain and Ermac were in the film because they're not listed in the trailer when the narrator does the roster.
Yeah,
So I
neither
was,
is Melina either.
yeah, there's still some surprises later on. So I thought that was really cool because it'd be impossible to keep any of that a secret these days.
I quite like the setting here, like in the Order of Light, compared to the
Yeah,
first film, like this sort of ceremonial, like forgive him, Thunder God, and all of that, compared to where it is now, like it's all in immediate disarray.
yeah. I didn't really have a chance to read up on it. I did watch the Mortal Kombat Legends cage match film, and I knew because Liu Kang belongs to an order of the White Lotus Society, I think, and Raiden in that film commands that as well. I did like that shot of Sindel emerging from the stairs. That's pretty
I was
cool.
gonna say, out of all of the women in Mortal Kombat, Sindel has probably always been easily in the top like two for me.
And she has a crucial role in the story because, yeah, the first film I think is really faithful to the first game. This film is more of an amalgam of the second and third games, and Sindel is a it's a kind of a small role in this, but it's a crucial one because and I believe it's true in the game as well. Khan uses her to invade anyway, despite losing the first couple of tournaments.
I,
He
I,
has her reborn on Earth.
I suppose the reason why they decided to, because with the exception of Khan losing Mortal Kombat 2, it's almost straight up MK3, and I can imagine this being the direct sequel to the first one. Well, if they've already beaten Shao Kahn before and he decides to invade anyway, which is the story of the original trilogy as far as the games are concerned, it kind of like undercuts your villain in a way. So,
Yeah,
like with the exception of that, there's not too much Mortal Kombat 2 actually in this film.
yeah, and
It's incredibly faithful to 3 though. Like if you remember the old attract mode for the arcade machine, like you've got Shao Kahn and Sindel sprites like holding hands, and they mention all that kind of stuff.
yeah, okay.
So almost all of that is beat for beat in MK3. And I'm not talking about Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Like, I know that's the one that gets all the clicks and all of that. But as far as the story, I believe, is concerned, I don't think Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 is canon to the trilogy.
Yeah, because I think MK3 was criticized for not including a lot of the favorites. So they, yeah, did an updated version and putting Scorpion and a few more guys into it.
So we've also had quite a number of faithful depictions of their abilities as well. Raiden's torpedo slam. We had the shadow barge from
Yes.
Shao Kahn. We've had the shadow kick from
Yeah, and
Johnny.
the uppercut.
It was literally right out of the game, the way that James Remar played it.
Yeah, the famous uppercut, and there's another one later on that's really cool as well. So James Remar's taking over from Christopher Lambert.
Do you think
Sandra
it's a,
Hess is taking over from Bridget Wilson. I forget who this actor is who's taking over from Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage.
Do you think it was an upgrade in terms of Raiden? I sometimes think James Remar, or maybe it's because he's a little bit easier to understand. Like, I do like Christopher Lambert a lot, but the accent does kind of throw you for a loop. It is pretty strong. I think he's French, I believe.
Yeah, I think this film struggles with a bit of star power because Christopher Lambert was a sort of genre icon, like very well known in sci-fi and fantasy. And Lyndon Ashby was a kind of a rising star back then. He played Coop in Melrose Place, and Bridget Wilson. She would go on to marry Pete Sampras. They One of the things that kind of lets this film down is I just don't think the sort of star power's there, but they do their best.
Yeah, and I think it gets more right than wrong. Um,
And we have there's some returning cast. Talisa Soto and Robin Shou are back as Kitana and Liu Kang.
who I think are the only two returning ones, with the exception of, well, as far as actors go, Keith Cooke makes an appearance as Sub-Zero later in the film. He was Reptile in the first movie. So not the same character, but the same actor does come back. So I think that's three in total.
Yeah.
I tell you, some of the scenery in like with the set design and all of that, it really does sort of harken back to that game. Like there's a beat later, especially with the scenes with Raiden in this movie, like with the torches on the corridors and all of that. You really get a bit of that sort of Subway sort of esque from the level. There's a moment when he's talking to the elder gods and he's surrounded by candles. It really reminds you of the church, I believe it's called, in the old game. Like the set design, like they have these sort of little elemental beats to things that are in the game.
Yeah, some of the sets I thought were really good in this. I really thought Khan's Fortress as well is pretty impressive. I think it was a huge miniature that was built because it looked pretty impressive, which we'll see in a couple of minutes. But yeah, I do like a lot of the set design in this.
And
I like, sorry,
yeah.
I love how Raiden just laughs at him when he reckons he can beat Khan.
but I think it's a very effective way of showing just how much of a threat Shao Kahn is. Like, Liu Kang seems to be forgetting already that, like, Shao Kahn almost bested Raiden in a fight. Like, just then. Yeah, I always like how Raiden likes to have a bit of style and flair in this film. Like, he gets the pony nub. You know, like he just sort of, he gets a bit more casual as the movie goes on, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
He's such a hard character to get right. Yeah, because in that cage match animated film, he's kind of this aloof and mysterious, ethereal, otherworldly kind of entity, and yeah, and in some versions, he's very more sort of down to earth and grounded.
well, I suppose it depends on, who's writing what story.
Yeah.
Like who's developing what game. I kind of clocked out of the games pretty much when they started going 3D. Like, I did tune into Armageddon and I played a little bit of, I think, Deadly Alliance, but I haven't really been keeping up with what it's been doing now with, I think, Mortal Kombat 1. It's just had a new hard reboot again.
Yeah. I'm amazed at, someone asked me the other day, what were you into as a kid? And craziest thing for me is the fact that it's all still around. Like, there's a He-Man movie filming at the moment, and yeah, much like yourself, I've got a very vivid memory of the first three Mortal Kombat games, and I kind of sort of remember number four, but like the fact that it's still around and it's arguably bigger than ever, bigger than it ever was. It's got big budget films still. It's got, a whole slew of animated series and movies, and it's had a live action series. It's got action figures, and
It's had that web series, that Mortal Kombat Legacy, that had like 2 or 3 seasons. It's had comics, it's had mangas, it's all over the shop.
yeah, it's because it was big in the 90s. It kind of lost its way a little bit in the 2000s, but it's roared back from like 2010 onwards. It's yeah, I'd argue it's bigger than it's ever been now.
I do quite find Robin Shou quite enjoyable in these movies, because I always think I believe he's from Hong Kong,
Yeah, okay.
and something that I always found sort of interesting to him, because we know that he is the real deal as far as martial arts is concerned. Like he does a lot of his own stuff, and like Beverly Hills Ninja, and I believe he also coached Mila Jovovich for the Resident Evil films as far as some of her stunt work went.
Yeah, I was watching the credits after I finished watching it last night, and he's also credited as the choreographer on this film. I'm not sure if he did the same thing with the first film, but yeah, I noticed his name pop up again after the actors' credits had rolled.
Yeah, and I believe he showed up as Gen in that Street Fighter Legacy, so he's one of the few that hasn't managed to cross over. Well, he'd be about the right age now to start playing that kind of character.
Yeah.
I believe this character is Shinnok, who made their debut in Mortal Kombat 4, so it was something that was for a game that was about to come out, making it into a film prior to release.
Yeah, I think this kind of weighs the film down because most of the costumes are more or less kind of accurate. He looks nothing like the Shinnok in the game. I was surprised he's the final opponent in the Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match animated movie. Johnny Cage has a final fight with Shinnok, and that's obviously it's animated, so I guess it's probably easier to have a more faithful look. But yeah, he looks a lot more like his video game counterpart in that film.
Well, I suppose you could also make the statement that filmmakers probably didn't even know what Shinnok looked like, and it could have even been like a demand to include him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I think Mortal Kombat 4 was in development.
Yeah,
as if it's coming out. But yeah, all of that stuff it wasn't really necessary about Khan and Raiden, and they're all this one big family. It's a load of bollocks.
Well, I suppose it was direct inspiration for Goldmember that was about to come out a couple of years later.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when you look at the runtime, we're well off to the races in this film, aren't we? Like, the stakes are set. We're on a time limit. Everyone's split up, and everyone is like not. They don't have everything that they need.
Yeah.
And we haven't even had our first fight yet, which is coming up. This is one inclusion that I always liked about MK3, and I know people say the not having Scorpion in the game and Sub-Zero being unmasked is a bit of a deal breaker, but I think the inclusion of these guys, the Cyber Ninjas, easily makes up for it. Like, I think the three, I believe they're from the Lin Kuei.
Sub-Zero's Ninja Clan.
Yeah, Smoke, and I think this movie does a very good job of showing you just how lethal they can be. Like, when they close the ground on you, like the Cyber Ninjas steal the show in this film.
Yeah, you'd have to say Smoke gets the better of him in this fight, even though he is destroyed in a minute. Liu Kang never really kind of gets the upper hand.
In fact, I don't even think Liu Kang manages to land a decent shot on him in the whole thing. Like, he's pretty much on the receiving end of the entire thing. And I always liked I love this when these early sort of films did this, and you can even include comic book movies in amongst video games where, you know, like Kitana, you could easily say, you know, she doesn't look anything like she does in the game. She's not wearing like the royal blue or wearing the face mask and all of that, but it's cool that she still has her fans, and
Yeah,
like that's the most iconic thing of that character or her weaponry, and she even makes the pose.
yeah. This is my favorite look of her. And there's a good shot coming up as well for a movie that gets dumped on. The continuity is really cool here because you can see her fighting in the background. I noticed it on my really big. I watched it on my really big TV, and I'd never noticed it before. Um, when I've watched it through my life, there's a really great shot. You can see her still fighting with the fan blades in the background as the focus is on Liu Kang and Smoke. I thought
Yeah,
that's a
you can see it
cool.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? I like that.
Yeah, she's still using the fan blades. It's awesome, you know, that they incorporated, because the only cyber ninja that's missing in this film is Sector, but his claim to fame is the chest missile, which they gave to Smoke. I actually don't mind them doing that, you know, like sort of blending the two of them together.
Yeah, and he's there in spirit because when Cyrax is destroyed, he briefly turns red for a second or two as Sonya sets him on fire. So he's kind of there. There's a little wink to him a bit later on.
Yeah, that's right, and that is Sonya's fatality as well, the kiss of death.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is Keith Cooke here, who also shows up in Beverly Hills Ninja with Chris Farley and Robin Shou. He plays Nobu, who's
yeah, okay.
Martin Tanley's right-hand man. So yeah, it's awesome that they incorporated both looks of Sub-Zero into this film. Like, he's got the classic look, he unmasks himself, and then he's got the gelled slick back hair, and he's got the scar. So you've got
Yeah,
both
and
versions of the character.
yeah, and it's. I believe this is canonically correct. He's the younger brother of the one from MK1. So
Yeah, I always got confused. I always thought he was the older one, but no, he's the younger one.
yeah, so the character in the first game dies, Scorpion kills him, and the Sub-Zero from that point on is a different person.
I really liked the costume work that they did for Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I mean, Rain and Ermac as well. Here, and I thought this was a really cool set with the ice bridge.
Yeah.
And there's a common mistake some people make about Sub-Zero flying when he freezes Smoke, but if you have a look, he's actually sliding down.
Yes.
His legs
Yeah.
are wrapped around an ice beam.
Yeah, it's like Iceman from X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, that always confused me as well. So yeah, we get the ice clone.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, the film probably leans a little bit too heavy into adapting things from the video game.
Yeah, I was kind of amazed how many things they managed to squeeze in.
Arguably more than the first film.
Yeah, the this is a really good fight here.
It was good in like, especially in the sense that neither of them really come out on top. Like, they're pretty bang on square even for most of it.
Yeah, and it's good that their relationship's been restored. They are enemies. When people complain that they're allies in the first film, there's a blink and you miss it line. They're being controlled by Shang Tsung. I think he's mind controlling them. They're just slaves, he refers to them as.
And I
So
think
that's
he
why
says that in their intro, their first scene. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's easy to miss because they just look so cool when they walk into the ship.
No, not to mention that music.
Oh yeah, that's just a cracker of a, and they're my favorite versions of their costumes. I think I read online somewhere you can actually download them as skins in some of these later games.
I was going to make a quick mention that the second song that plays when Scorpion starts getting the upper hand is from Lunatic Calm, and that was the trailer music for Spider-Man 1 in 2002. Like, that song gets hammered a lot.
Yeah, it's a look back through time, this music. I did peruse a few of the song credits, and a couple of the names rang a bell, but
And I love how Scorpion has the white eyes, like he's undead. Like, that's
yeah,
really cool.
it's really good attention to detail.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to be, right? Like, he's a hellspawn. And I also really liked when Sub-Zero was hanging over the bridge there and Liu Kang has to pull him up. It's a little wink towards a stage fatality, like when you uppercut someone off the pit.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool. And that happens a few times, like when Shao Kahn does it to Rain later in the film. Like, and I don't think... I'm a little bit foggy on the first game, if stage fatalities were in it or not. There might have been one. Another famous one I can remember was the Deadpool, when you uppercut someone into the acid bath.
Yeah. Good grief.
Well, I suppose that was kind of Mortal Kombat's bread and butter, wasn't it, compared to Street Fighter? Like, I mean, Street Fighter was pretty mighty for a fighting game. How do you do that but make yourself different visually? Well, you go violent, don't you?
Yeah, it caused very controversial when it came out. I think they ended up changing some legislation based on not so much the first one, but the gore in Mortal Kombat 2 or 3. I think they introduced new laws or something.
I know Nintendo cracked down on it a lot, like Sub-Zero's spine rip fatality. The screen just turns black on the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
Jax was in the first film for about 2 seconds.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, and again, he's been... I don't think it's the same guy, though, but yeah, definitely Sonya's talking with Jax when they see Kano get on the boat. Yeah, I do remember him.
Yeah, so it was really good that they went back to this. And that purple hue that just kind of shows up, like when Raiden was talking to Sonya, and we're kind of getting like little bits of information about about what the arms do, and like I love that kind of like purple filter that goes around everything, because when they do go to Outworld in the first film, but the fight with Shang Tsung happens indoors.
Yeah.
So you don't actually see that kind of stuff outside, whereas this film goes real heavy into it. Well, both realms are merging, so there's an excuse to show a bit more of that kind of stuff. Interesting about Jax here, though, is that he has coating over his arms. He hasn't actually lost his arms, like pretty much every other depiction of the character is.
Yeah, I did notice that, because I'm not sure if Jax is in MK2, and then he has the robotic arms in MK3, and I don't know if it's in the description or if I just assumed, he had his arms removed and replaced, but no, you're right, it's coating like some armor.
Yeah, it's really interesting that. But again, I suppose that's a way that, again, it's another one of those sort of aspects that they blended from Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 into Annihilation. So you have Jax with robot arms, his MK3 appearance for most of the film, but then at the end of it, when he takes off the arms, he's got his organic ones. Well, then it's MK2 Jax, isn't it? So you've got both versions of the character. Same deal with what they did with Sub-Zero earlier. You've got both appearances of the character in the same movie. They really did a good job of splitting the difference with some of these.
Yeah, exactly.
And using the mines, which was a signature ability of Cyrax for his intro. It's probably one of the coolest intros of any fighting game character in a movie ever.
Yeah, I didn't remember the mines, but I do remember the net. I haven't played these games in a long time, but I do remember.
Oh, actually,
here and there.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, I'm confused about that. No, I think Smoke had the mines, because one of his fatalities was he just dropped mines and mines and mines all out of his chest everywhere, and the planet would blow up.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
Yeah, so they gave it to Cyrax. Cyrax would self-destruct, which coincidentally he ends up doing in the movie. I'd love to know who were actually inside these costumes, because their stunt work is really good. The way these cyber ninjas can pull off these snap kicks.
Yeah.
And I did love that monitor kick.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to use what you can use, right? This film has a habit of getting the female heroes to just fight slews of like the Foot Clan. I mean, because Kitana had to kill like 20 guys while Liu Kang got flogged around by Smoke. Like, same deal is happening here. Like, Sonya's putting in all the body work, and Jax is on the ground. The net. That was a really cool effect. I remember liking this, and how the bones just sort of vanish on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jax, he's having a hard time here. Well, you know what? Let's cut him some slack, because the guy literally did just get up off an operating table.
Yeah.
Um, with the Cyber Ninja design, those sort of dreadlocks that hang out the back of the head, it's very Predator-esque in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, and same with the face plate, the mouth plate.
Yeah, the grill.
Yeah.
I love the body armor on these guys. And that kind of smack talk from Jax there when he starts getting the upper hand. I mean, we all grew up playing these fighting games. I mean, with your mates, some nasty things get said here and there, but when you finally do break your losing streak, you tend to flex a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, Jax has some good lines in the whole movie, yeah.
I really like that sort of, yeah, they're really good, that sort of spin stomp to the screen. I know a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies that do that with that kick that Sonya just pulled off then.
Yeah.
And considering that we were like in the ruins of an Asian temple, we're in an Outworld castle, you know, we were like in a sort of broken down gothic medieval volcanic ash pit, and now we're inside of a sci-fi military weapons library with surgical equipment fighting it. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just crazy the sort of world that they've built with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it really hits all the sweet spots, doesn't it? Outworld is a sort of fantasy setting, but you have this plot line with the Lin Kuei turning their ninjas into robots. And you've even got sort of a criminal element with, you know, Sonya and her team chasing Kano, who belongs to like a crime syndicate. It's really interesting how all these different storylines from different genres, yeah, do meld together. It's got something for everyone.
It feels very cohesive though, and you don't question it. Like that, I think, is the real sort of magic to it.
Yeah, it's just so cool what they've accomplished.
Like thus far, I don't think this film has done anything that the first film hasn't done too crazy. You know, like I don't think it's the I do think, yeah, we are sort of like a little bit like a compass dancing here. Well, see, one thing that Mortal Kombat had that I wish Street Fighter did was basically, like, no matter what happens in that original game with Mortal Kombat, Liu Kang wins that tournament. Like, Street Fighter's never had that. It's had a whole bunch of different canonical endings for different people. They've retroactively tried to get the strength that Mortal Kombat had and made it Ryu, but they can't quite seem to make that stick. Whereas this has a clear beat to follow.
Yeah, right.
I was going to comment on Shiva during the intro there. I didn't think too much of Shiva when she was added to the roster. But she's almost, you know, playing through the game again a little bit here and there. She's almost like a sub-boss character herself with the way she can pull off combos and, like, the damage percentage that she has.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the like on one hand I applaud the filmmakers for putting them in, but Shiva's design kind of struggles a little bit because she's quite intimidating as a character in the games. So is Motaro, but they don't sort of quite pull it off. They do their best.
It will never happen again.
Yeah, as Rain bites the dust.
So Rain fans, I can understand why they're a bit upset with the film.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think he's kind of a weak character. So same with Ermac. But I do love this sort of running strand through the film. Like every time Shao Kahn enters this particular room, he's just perpetually pissed off in a bad mood.
It's like when you got to do the budget for the year. But another thing that I like, every time Shao Kahn walks into this room, there's always one less person there.
Yeah. And they also did a good job, because I think this is canonically accurate as well. Their species hate each other.
Yes, that's true. Which I always thought Shao Kahn might have been taking the piss. Like, he hires two Shokin for the first two tournaments, and when they both fail, they're two guys with 4 arms, so he hires a guy with 4 legs. Yeah. The third time around. I just thought he was taking the mickey a little bit there.
Yeah,
But I can understand why he was a bit fed up. He gives the Shokans another chance because Goro did win 9 tournaments,
yeah.
so they had something going for them. I always felt like, Kintaro never really got a fair shake, but it was probably a good thing for the film to go with Motaro instead.
Yeah, they kind of just skipped over him, and yeah, Kintaro will always be sort of this victim of the if you want a four-arm guy, Goro is probably more popular and more recognizable. So it would make sense to go with the one that is that. So he's sort of, yeah, they couldn't split the difference, and I think one of the creators of the game actually mentioned that they tried to sort of play up more of his feline tiger traits, and it didn't really come together at the time. So I think one of them even said just make him a Goro knockoff. But I think as time went by in different iterations of the game, like he's a bit more defined and can sort of he's got his own kind of identity and can stand on his own feet now.
Yeah,
And,
and someone was telling me that Kintaro is only playable in 2 of the games or something that they've released thus far. I know one of them is I think one of them is Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and the other one is Armageddon. Kintaro has ever only been playable in 2 games or something like that. What did you think of the introduction of the animalities?
that morphing effect is quite good. I think it really holds up. They struggle a little bit later on, and I don't sort of want to dogpile on it. This movie gets slammed, but I'll always give them credit for telling an ambitious story, and sort of the money's going to run out eventually. It did have a higher budget than the first film,
Yeah.
but they're spreading it thinner because they're telling a more ambitious story. But I remember watching this scene a night or two ago and being really impressed with the wolf morphing back into Nightwolf. The Yeah, the animality as a concept, it's not really kind of fleshed out in the film. It's sort of unclear. Nightwolf mentions these tests he has to pass, but it's not really kind of sort of explored in any great depth. And I think this movie kind of lost the the attention of the normies. It is a big, massive shout out to fans, this film, because I love how it
Mm.
just introduces characters that it doesn't even bother naming. Like Cyrax isn't named, um, Melina and a few others, I think, later on. Like the film's just going, you know what, fuck it. It's up to you to keep up. And it's not really good filmmaking because you have to, if you introduce characters, you have to at least give them a name, right?
Well, yeah, I'd imagine so. I love how Liu Kang has this dream, and
Yeah,
it basically turns into Brian Thompson just hanging shit on him.
yeah, and Talisa Soto, Lou, you're punching above your weight, mate.
Yeah, like I thought if Liu could pull that, there's hope for us all. Yeah, I love this,
Yeah,
and how Shao Kahn even mentions him by name.
yeah.
Like they haven't met
It's
yet.
like, yeah, Happy Gilmore's happy place.
Yeah.
And it really, another thing that hurts it is Shang Tsung, the way it was played by um, Cary Tagawa is like he's brilliant in that first movie with his presence and his line delivery, and he really elevates that first movie. And Brian Thompson doesn't in this. For a character that's meant to be a lot more powerful, you don't. I probably would have kept Shang Tsung alive and brought him back because that's what happens in the game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and
And I believe,
I love this. Like it's sort of hard to notice at first, but they were just in a desert, right? They're still at Nightwolf's camp, but there's this snow here,
yeah,
and we get introduced to Jade now, and Jade, who I believe was dark skinned in the game, but she's an Asian woman in the film. Um,
yeah. I think my memory's a little bit hazy, but I could have sworn there was a palace swapped version of Jade with white skin, but I could be wrong. I have not played the original trilogy in a long, long time, but I do remember Jade as being dark skinned. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's interesting here that when she does morph into her costume, the snow vanishes.
yeah, it's all an illusion.
Yeah, it's really cool. It reminds me of the Dark Link fight inside of the Water Temple. It's like just this dead tree and like two doors standing up opposite each other, and you can just see nothing but like white noise in every direction, and there's water up to your ankles in this room. But after you defeat Dark Link, everything fades away, and it's just this rectangular
Yeah,
room.
yeah, I
Like,
do remember that. Yeah,
yeah, it's really cool. It reminds me a lot of that. If I was New Line, I'd be contemplating legal action against Nintendo.
interestingly enough, I was reading the other day, Kari Tagawa has done the voice work of Shang Tsung in some later games, so he clearly still has a lot of affection for the character.
Well, he's probably played more villains than heroes in his life. I mean, just look at the guy. Like, he looks like an evil sorcerer.
Yeah, Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Um, yeah, and this is another beat here. I thought it was pretty cool, this fight, although Lu's heart's not really in it. Um, I don't know about anyone else, but every single time I come up to fight against Jade, I always end up getting my ass beat every single time because she's got that weird ability. Like, yeah, she does have her staff in the film, which is really cool because she has that in the game. Because she has that ability where she flashes white and she's like invulnerable to everything.
Yeah,
So,
right.
like, you try to freeze her and then she just runs up to you and just does like an 18 hit combo and you lose half your health. Yeah, I don't know. I very rarely do I ever manage to clock off Jade in one go.
Yeah, from memory, she was quite difficult to get past.
Yeah, I always thought it was just a me thing here, but Lou is on the receiving end of a lot of the fights in this, isn't he? I suppose they're trying to sort of knuckle down on the fact that he's not ready yet.
Yeah, it's something I didn't really notice as a kid watching this film, but he's a lot more passive in this film, whereas in the first film he's driving a lot of the action. So yeah, it's interesting some of the choices they make with Liu Kang in this film.
I think the reason that could be for that is because, well, his personal stake in it's not really there anymore. Like, I mean, yes, the Kitana got kidnapped, but what really had him going was avenging his little brother in the first
Yeah,
film, and he's done that. Like, that hasn't been undone. Like, Shang Tsung's dead, Chan's soul is still at rest. He
yeah,
hasn't really got that fire in him the way that he did in the first movie. I think that's probably a big part of it as well.
yeah. And characters seem to appear and disappear with no rhyme or reason. Like we never see Nightwolf ever again.
I've always been kind of pissed off with that. Like, it's the costume looked just so cool. The
Yeah,
makeup was so great. The guy was ripped as shit,
yeah,
which is, and he actually holds a tomahawk. Like it's just, oh man, if only we saw much of that. And another one as well was,
yeah. He's back in this room again. Yeah, go on.
Brian Thompson. I'm going to gift that moment, just subtly walking in there. The other one was the tease of Cabal and Stryker. So if you were a Rain fan and you went and saw this, and you had a soft spot for Cabal and Stryker, that scene is your worst nightmare because your three characters that you like are all jilted in like 1 minute. It's like watching Transformers.
Yeah, and because yeah, just when you think, I'm really surprised. Although I have not seen the film from a year or two ago. I'm surprised they didn't try and at least put Stryker in here. But the movie is already gonna collapse on itself with so many characters. It's at least they did get a bit of a shout out in name only. Some of the other ones.
But I think because what, like, 2 of the days had already passed at that point, so I think the sort of drive home the fact that Outworld is winning, yeah, this whole thing, yeah, like, let's just drop in a couple of character names there.
Yeah,
Like, one character that I've just been itching to see, and I believe they did that in the 21 film, was I was surprised that neither the last movie or this one went anywhere close to touching Kung Lao.
yeah, okay. Because they kind of streamlined the story, didn't they? Because they gave Liu Kang Kung Lao's role. Because in the first film, isn't Liu Kang descended from?
Yeah, that's right. I believe Liu Kang is a descendant of Kung Lao in the films, whereas in the game,
It's a separate character.
Kung Lao is the descendant of the great Kung Lao. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, so he's the guy the last Earth champion before he lost to Goro. Or did Goro beat the original one to win from memory?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was what kickstarted the whole thing. Because there's another thing as well going on between the Shogun and the Shaolin. Like they're pretty pissed off with each other all the time as well.
Yeah, okay.
I always found the Shogun quite interesting. That I'm not too sure if it's based on anything real, like a Minotaur or a Centaur or something like that like fantasy beast that we know of, or if a Shogun was just something that Midway came up with, like a half human, half dragon, and they came up with the name of a Shogun, or is it based on something?
Yeah, not from memory. I think it was a creation of theirs. Yeah, nothing really stands out for me at the moment, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything that it could be based on. I mean, there's things like Hindu gods that have multiple arms, but that's not a Shogun. But no, I can't think of any sort of fantasy beast or something that they're taking inspiration from.
Yeah.
I think the Shogun is something that they just came up with on their own. And you see just how degenerate the world is becoming now. It's fusing with Outworld that this thing has been erected as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really sinister.
Yeah, don't go near it. Don't light up a cigarette near it. Learn from Deep Blue Sea, lovey. This is one of my favorite fights. This is right up there with Vega and Chun-Li in the animated movie. Mainly because of the setting. I love seeing their clothes get all messed up.
Yeah, the mud wrestling.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the two size. Melina was actually pretty lethal in this.
Yeah, Melina.
Who, I might be a bit foggy on this. I could even be confusing her with someone else, but I think she's half human and she's half whatever Baraka's species is. Takatan, I think.
Yeah, I thought she was a clone or something of Kitana from Mortal Kombat 2, but yeah, I do believe there's a thing where she removes her faceplate and it's Baraka's race, because I think the original idea was that all of Outworld's inhabitants would be Baraka's race, but that's an idea they kind of dropped.
Baraka. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to him, don't worry.
Yeah. No, I my relationship with Baraka hasn't exactly been the best over the last 3 decades. I was just kind of smirking to myself there, going, so you've got a ninja warrior princess trying to fight a military combat woman, and it was just so cool seeing Sonya put in the work there. Sonya Blade is just so cool, and it's just about everything that she's in. Just awesome fighter. I love it. And I think the reason why that monster was added there is because we need to show Jax really show off the arms for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing battle damage. I love seeing the wear. I mean, you've got too many pretty boys in these action roles, and they get a tiny little cut above their eye. I love seeing just the costume get totally wrecked, ruined, all dirty, and all that kind of stuff. Busted up lip and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you're gonna do it to one of your characters, just go for it.
Yeah, it's good when movies do that, how they get injured, and for the rest of the film they have the bandage or they have the cast. They're not better in the very next scene. I do like movies that do that. Tarantino is good, and Shane Black, they're good at doing that as well. Where is it Ryan Gosling? He breaks his nose or something. He's just got the band-aid for the rest of the movie.
It takes 8 months to correct. Yeah. Another one for me was the knife wound that Dalton gets at the start of Roadhouse that he sews up. If you pay attention towards the end of the film, he's got that scar on his shoulder.
Yeah, right, okay.
So it stays there forever because someone tried to glass him. Yeah, I really like that. Like, there's too many of that fast forward and then they're perfectly fine. Like, God, if people want to talk about like time concept in films, the Elder Gods, I don't think. Again, like with the exception of maybe some prologue text and some winning the tournament text in the original trilogy, were they much of a thing?
I don't remember them a whole lot now, and they are pretty useless in this film.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're just letting Khan do whatever the hell he wants.
Well, Khan's
And they,
Khan's breaking your rules. It's like that scene. It reminds me of that scene. Like this whole thing could be better with a rewrite. I'd get that scene from Kick-Ass. The Elder Gods here are pretty much saying it's out of our jurisdiction. Like, you're the fucking Elder Gods. He's breaking your tournament rules.
yeah. But I kind of understand why they kind of gloss over all this, because it's a fighting movie. The movie is going to sell itself on the fight scenes. If you're going to get bogged down in this stuff, it's going to be something completely different. So we kind of just gloss over how Khan was able to do what he's done. And it's kind of vague as well in Mortal Kombat 3. All it really says is Sindel is reborn on Earth, and that allows him to break the dimensional barrier and take control of Earth. It doesn't really go into the specifics of it, but I dare say later games would have probably fleshed it out a bit more, or comic books or something.
I was just thinking about the jump kick that Jade got on Jax there, because Cyrax pulls off the jump kick pretty much straight out of the game as well.
Yeah.
The up forward high kick, or like it rocks up a couple of times in this movie.
Yeah.
I do like the jab that Sonya gives Liu Kang there. Like, every time we see you with a different female companion, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, he keeps losing them all the time.
Yeah. So I believe some of these scenes are filmed in Petra in Jordan, and I was reading it's one of the reasons that sapped their budget. These sort of long distance shoots in sort of remote locations. I'm surprised they were able to get this close to it, because it's such an ancient sacred site. I'm surprised they even let filming go there. But I guess if you've got enough money, right?
Well, I suppose. I do like casual Raiden.
Yeah, he's now a human.
Like, I remember this bit happening way later in the film. I didn't realize it happened before the halfway mark, or at the halfway mark. But I suppose now we got all the cast back together again now, with the exception of Kitana.
Yeah.
Another thing that you were saying, like how characters just rock up for like one scene then disappear, and it's never really explained where they go or why they're not concerned about the world ending. Like, Sub-Zero spoke a great game about how he was helping Kitana and that smoke was reprogrammed and all of that. Well, are you gonna come along with me, mate, or what? he just
Yeah,
he
it's so
just
bizarre.
he just walks away. Like, I mean, like, but Sub-Zero clearly understands like the dire situation that they're in, and he knows what needs to be done. He just kind of goes, "Not my problem, bro," and walks away. Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, there's another good moment to do with that shows up in a little while that I had a good laugh about. I'll put a pin in that. I'll flesh it out a bit more later.
Yeah. Well, I suppose Scorpion did what he was paid for, wasn't it? Like, wasn't he? Like, all he had to do was kidnap Kitana, so there's no reason. And without Sub-Zero again. Although, like, how are you going to top the fight that they just had is probably what the filmmakers were thinking.
Yeah, that's right.
It was really cool to finally see this. I remembered this beat, and it was always Sindel's scream, which is her most iconic ability in the game. Just seeing it in full force, just ravage everything around her, was just so cool. I believe it's one of her fatalities as well, where she'll just scream at you until your flesh peels off.
Yeah, that's one I do remember, yeah.
One of the creepiest moments with Sindel in this film, though, rocks up just after they go into Outworld, when that creepy music's playing in the background, and then she does that kind of shriek.
Yeah, I do remember that.
When the light flashes, like that always freaked me out as a kid. I really like Sindel in this movie. I know a lot of people clip her about some of the dialogue that she had, but the costume and the sound effects on the screaming and all of that was just so cool. Like, I don't even think Goro made me uneasy like that in the first film.
Yeah, Sindel. Brian Thompson, my God.
Yeah, we probably should delve into him. I mean, with the exception of being one of the punks at the start of Terminator. And also, Buffalo Bob.
Yeah, he was the
Joe
Night Slasher in Cobra.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Cobra as well. Not really in a whole lot, you know.
Yeah, I don't think he's good in this. Yeah, and some of it's out of his hands because I think some of the costumes in this movie are really good, but his isn't. I don't think they did a good job.
It needs the red on it, doesn't it?
Well, it's a shame because I think Shao Kahn's design and whole look in the games is really good. You really believe that he's, everything he says he is. But yeah, Brian Thompson and Shao Kahn, when you have your main villain who's not really sort of generating the sort of presence that you need, but it was also such a tough act to follow because, as I said, Cary Tagawa was so good as the main villain in the first film, and they were subtly kind of seeding Shao Kahn all through that first film. Like there's constant mentions of the Emperor and he's doing this and the Emperor thinks this and
like Kitana being his adopted daughter.
Yeah, so to see him in the flesh and you think, like the Emperor, he should be this. Like you think of the Emperor in Star Wars and you just keep your mouth shut and head down and hope to Christ he doesn't see you. He is just so threatening. Like that's what an emperor should be. Look at him here. He's yeah, I don't know. It just didn't quite land.
But Daddy, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like he's acting like Scott Evil. Like he's not. Yeah. I think introducing Shinnok though, because like who's the main villain here? Is it Shao Kahn or is it this, Prada? Like,
yeah, and none of this, like some things they do get right with the canon, but this is all rubbish. Like Shinnok's not his dad. Raiden and him aren't brothers. It's all kind of a bit messy to try and make it a bit more simpler for normies who by this point have probably lost interest in it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically the biggest flaw in this entire film is all boiled down to Shao Kahn.
No, not exactly. I'm being too harsh on him, but he's not as good as.
No, because defeating him now is just a checkbox, isn't it? Like no one really has a stake to do that, or at least that's the moment with Sindel that I was talking about.
It is a good moment. She's got a lot of screen presence. This actress as Sindel.
I would have just made Sindel the villain because that probably would have worked.
Yeah, because you do get the impression she's like an Evelyn sort of character. Like she has that look and smirk that she constantly knows more than she lets on. So yeah, it's probably not the worst idea in the world making her the main villain.
These things here, are these reptile or chameleon knockoffs? I'm guessing they're the same thing.
No, I believe they do have a credit in when the credits roll, but they're original characters. I was thinking maybe one of them is Noob Saibot. I have heard that explanation before, but Noob Saibot and Reptile, they're not credited in the closing credits.
Oh, really? But even that black ninja suit that Ermac spawns to fight Sonya, that's not Noob Saibot either.
No, apparently not. No, because if it was, I just find it weird they wouldn't name him in the credits.
Yeah, all right.
I'm guessing they're just generic Outworld soldiers.
Yeah, okay. It was pretty cool though to finally see Raiden do his thing because he doesn't really. He talks a big game in the first one, but I know there are rules in place to stop him from interfering because it isn't going to be much of a fight if you're going up against a Thunder God.
Yeah.
But, you know, now that he's been depowered and all that kind of stuff, it was pretty cool to see him do his thing.
Yeah. This is a pretty good action scene.
I just love the light kind of streaming through these beams of light
Yeah.
through the whole thing. Like, there's no sort of center source.
Yeah, and the uppercut into another level. I remember that from Mortal Kombat 3. It was at MK3 where you could uppercut them and they go through.
Yeah, you could. What pissed me off the most about that is that you could uppercut people through the best looking stages. Like, why can you...
Yeah.
Why the hell... Hang on, I'm sorry, let me be a bit more polite. Why the fuck can you uppercut someone out of the soul chamber?
Yeah.
Like, whoever did that, horsewhip them. Because the soul chamber is awesome. I wonder if they've ever depicted that in live action yet. You know, the orange face with the green beam?
Yes.
In the background. It's underneath Motaro's stage, I believe. Like, how has that not been depicted? And why the hell can you uppercut people out of that stage?
Yeah, I'm going to check out the latest movie this weekend, and I want to watch a few more of the Legends animated films because I really enjoyed Cage Match last Sunday.
I saw the Scorpion's Revenge one.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, it was alright. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a copy of that, so I want to find time to get to them all. Because it wasn't on my radar, but I watched a show called Warrior, and I think his name's Joseph Tappan, who is just an incredible martial artist. He's Sub-Zero in it, and I just loved him in Warrior, so I was really excited to see him. I just sort of perusing his IMDb page, looking for something else he'd been in, and yeah, it was the 2021 or 2022 Mortal Kombat film. I'm not sure if he's in it a whole lot or whatnot, but yeah, I definitely want to get around to that this weekend.
Yeah, all right. I believe this is where we get our introduction to Baraka.
Yeah, well, you can almost tell this is where the money tap got turned off. I mean, Power Rangers villains look better. They really, really dropped the ball with this scene. Like, I'm not against the scene in theory, but Baraka looks horrid.
There's like 2 or 3 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, which is fine because he is a race.
Yeah.
But he just looks awful. Like the mask, the costume, it's just not good.
And I believe we'll probably catch it here. When he falls into the pit, it's actually rain. They just recycled the footage.
Yeah, you can pretty much tell the money's run out by this point.
Yeah, all right, I can get that.
Because he's never done a whole lot for me, but Baraka seems very popular in the fandom. I don't know why.
I've always thought he was a bit of a muppet, you know. Like, I've never really rated him. Well, mainly because, like, I mean, I never really took the time to get good with him, I suppose, is the issue there. But I mean, yeah, Baraka, he's never really done it for me. God, that is pretty bad. I didn't realize that mask, like, it looks like Goosebumps 95 haunted mask.
Yeah, it's 2 steps away from Pudgy Pig.
Yeah, far out. Like, it's not even, like, the mouth doesn't even move.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, alright. Yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
I didn't catch the recycled rain shot.
Yeah, pay attention here. I swear blind, and everyone on the internet seems to think so too. The wire work and all that kind of stuff is really cool, but this isn't really a Mortal Kombat fight, though, is it?
Yeah, some of this stuff is not bad.
Yeah, one of them falls into the pit, and it's rain. I love this guy who was hiding up there.
Yeah.
Who took the time to coil himself up in a chain. And why is this one trying to kill Kitana? Like, aren't they meant to keep her alive? It's like the Urukai find the halflings. Well, the guy with the big axe didn't get that memo when he tries to mow down Mary. Yeah, here we go. It's rain. Yeah, well, I guess the big Urukai didn't get that memo when he goes to mow down Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, he says he's sorry.
Yeah, and this, again, I think you're right about the money drying up here, because Shiva's just offed.
Yeah, she doesn't get a fight scene, does she?
Yeah, she's just flattened underneath that.
Yeah,
That
short and
was
sweet.
yeah. Well, I suppose they need to filter in what little they have left for Motaro.
Yeah,
Um,
and you have the animality fight coming up, which is
yeah,
thanks, Greg. That was interesting too.
yeah, maybe because the whole point of an animality is that it's a finisher. The fact that they fight in their beast modes for so long was just. It's kind of overthinking it a little bit because the point of the animality was to finish someone.
Yeah,
And I think this is made up for the film as well, isn't it? That Sindel is Kitana's mother.
yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, because um, well, I think Khan did have a queen, but yeah, but then it goes on to mention he has an adopted daughter. So yeah, I'm guessing they're not biologically related.
You're supposed to be in Switzerland, you little son of a bitch. I mean, just have Khan walk into that boardroom like that again with
Yeah,
Kitana in
yeah, I
there.
did laugh every time he walked into that room. I was just laughing. Yeah, just laying on my beanbag watching
But
this the other night.
I always loved when he killed Rain, though. It wasn't that Rain succeeded in his mission to kill Cabal and Stryker. It's that he didn't make them beg for their lives before he did it.
Yeah, I
So,
know. It seems a weird thing to flip out over.
yeah, so he killed him for that, but the end result's the same. What the hell? Oh, the hair lash here was really cool. Um, it was almost like spider legs.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this was my generation's equivalent of "I'm your father."
the turncoat.
Yeah, these two. I mean, Jade. Did that catch you by surprise with Jade?
Um, Back in the day, I'm tempted to say no because I think she is an Outworld warrior, right?
Well, we did get that scene with Shao Kahn earlier, with Sindel and Jade, and he's given them both a serve.
Yeah,
Oh no! Oh, hang on, no, that's coming up. Sorry. Um, yeah, no. So yeah, no, they didn't
'cause I
spoil that
think
before
yeah,
we got to see it. But
I,
yeah, did that catch you by surprise? Not really.
no, because yeah, Jade appears in Mortal Kombat 2, and she's working for it. She's on Outworld's side, so yeah. Back in the day, watching it for the first time, I'm tempted to say no. It wasn't a surprise, but hindsight's a wonderful thing, and yeah, I can't believe it's been what nearly 30 years. My goodness.
Yeah, I did hear that they back in 2017 they had sort of like a bit of a cast reunion sort of convention panel for this film. It kind of pisses me off that no one had the foresight to press record and upload it to YouTube because I would have liked to have seen that for those of us who don't live in the US.
Yeah, that
Um,
would have been nice.
that would have been pretty cool. Well, hey, maybe there's hope. Maybe we'll get a Blu-ray of this down the line and they'll have all that back in there. Um,
Yeah,
because I think as it goes on, like I do these days at least. I suppose it's because people like me who like this film when it came out and all that kind of stuff. Because I saw this before the first one.
yeah, okay.
Like I do tend to see a bit more praise for it these days than pretty much my entire teenage years, where nah, just rip it to bits. But when I hear some of the reasons why people don't like it, they say the dialogue, oh no, it's too cheesy, I don't like it. I'm like, but the first one isn't. It
Yeah.
doesn't have a few moments like that. Just another starstruck fan, huh? Well, like I'm like the first one's full of that as well. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's something um, I was going to talk about in the closing credits. Because, yeah, well, I'm actually glad to hear that it's found a bit more love recently. Because, yeah, this movie is just so easy to beat up on online. Um, so, okay, we've established MK fans and fans of whoever. This is what you don't want. Like, what do you want? Like, I always love these sort of Reddit guys that just smash the shit out of everything. Okay, you don't want that. You've established that. What do you want? What does a great Mortal Kombat movie look like? Fucking Shakespeare? It's Dragons and horse guys punching each other. My goodness.
You know, the way people talk about this film, like, they make it sound like New Line were deliberately setting out to try for an Oscar in 1997 when they made this. Like, fucking, that is so not what they were doing. Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing I like better than having an art house critical eye over Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because that's the way you view it.
Ridiculous. It's absolute ridiculous.
I do like that little moment with Sindel there with the wide eyes. Yeah, that's another sort of memeable moment there. Yeah, so you're right. He gets perpetually pissed off every single time he's there. And I love how Motaro and Ermac are just kind of there for decoration. Like, they just saw someone get killed and, like, Motaro's like, yeah.
Yeah, I like this sort of scheming side to his character here.
Yeah, doesn't he give her a spray now? Yeah, he gives her a serve now. Yeah, Motaro.
Like, yeah, Rasp, there'll be a promotion for you kind of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love the smack. Yeah, just give him some. And I like that I love the clever shots that they do with Motaro. Like, okay, so we'll film the actor side of it. We won't show off the four legs. Like, well, they did that at the intro a little bit. They did that in the first meeting. But I love how they'll have the shot of the actor, like, in like a headshot, and you'll see the tail, like, swinging in the background.
Yeah, okay.
Like, it's really cool how they have... Cost effective is probably the way to describe it when it comes to Motaro close up. Like, how he was posed there just before, you can't see his back half, but you can see the tail swinging around.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm like, yeah, well, it's great, you know? Like, don't do a Michael Scott threat level midnight blowing up Toby's head. The most expensive shot in the film, but also the most important. It amounts to fucking nothing. Like, you know? Alright, so we're getting psyched up for it.
Yeah. And I love, so you mentioned before how, like, Sub-Zero just palms it off to someone else. I love how Kitana throws him under the bus. Look, Lou's our only hope. Yeah, great idea, man. Bishop should go. Yeah, you get to fight the fucking immortal emperor. I love how she's just like, man, who's got a fight card? Lou, how about you?
You know, like, no, you know what? They should have done it the Speedway. Lord Raiden, Lou volunteers to take on Shao Kahn. Yeah. Harry volunteers to inspect the device. Like, just volunteer for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love that. Just dob him in, and everyone's like, yeah, you can do it, Lou.
But that's very true to the games, though, isn't it? Like, whenever shit goes up the spout, like, it's a call to Liu Kang straight away, isn't it?
Yeah, because he won the first two, and yeah, I think he won Mortal Kombat 3 as well, didn't he? My memory's a little bit hazy, but he beat Goro and Shang Tsung, and he beat Shao Kahn in the second one.
Which, for people who like to do their nut about being faithful to the game, so you've got no problem with Johnny Cage taking out Goro. Yeah. Like, in fact, I don't even think Liu Kang, outside of the game, has been depicted as defeating Goro, has he?
Yeah, because, no, not outside of the games, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's about damn time that we see that for real. I'd love to see Liu Kang fight Goro and kick his ass.
Yeah. Well, I think that's Goro's whole plot in MK4 when he returns. He wants to beat Liu Kang, and Liu Kang beats him again.
You have the right to remain dead.
Yeah.
I love the square off here.
Yeah, this is really good.
Well, they're at the Order of Light again, that Liu Kang mentioned, and that's where the film started.
Yeah.
It's been totally emerged into Outworld now. I tend to think Shao Kahn probably should have kept the skull mask on for the whole film.
Yeah, it's a really good look in the game, and there is an image of him, because he'll appear in this new movie they're filming, and he looks really demonic. Like, his whole skin looks like a sort of creature. He's got the mask, but it looks like it was really interesting. It's really dark and black, and he's got these glowing red eyes, so Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle Shao Kahn.
I was going to say, didn't Shao Kahn like totally fuck over Onaga? Like, it's hard to imagine this bloke here could have done that. But I mean, Onaga was quite a ways away yet
Yeah,
before he was introduced. What I believe he was the first emperor of Outworld,
yeah, okay.
and that's the whole gimmick behind the dragon logo.
Yeah, right.
And apparently he's a little bit pissy about that because in that trailer for Mortal Kombat Armageddon, you'll notice when they're fighting on the pyramid, Shao Kahn rocks up with his hammer, gets a couple of kills in, Onaga just swoops in behind him and snatches him away. And he's not even interested in ultimate power. He just wants to, take it out on Shao Kahn.
Yeah, I do remember that trailer where there were like hundreds of characters, it felt like.
That was an awesome trailer, that. I mean, if there's you get you psyched up for a game, mate, you get it there. Well, I suppose we have to quickly shove Raiden out of the way.
You got to keep it 4 against 4.
Yeah, they probably could have done something with him, but we got to get to the fighting now. You know what I mean? Like, enough talk and just throw a knife into someone, Conan style. I wonder if they've ever done that in the games. Kill Raiden. Oh, it's Mortal Kombat. I'm sure it's happened at some point.
Yeah, because I think the 2011 reboot, where Shao Kahn and Raiden, the story begins, they're having their final battle, and Raiden rewinds time, and that's how it splinters the timeline off, I think.
Mr. Ed is mine. I always love that line, because it's a talking horse, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that line ever since I was a kid. Yeah, it was a show from the 60s or 50s, I think. Yeah, the talking horse with Wilbur.
Yeah, Mr. Ed is mine. Yeah, gonna make you eat that thing. Jax is awesome in this movie.
Yeah, Wilbur.
Yeah, this was really cool having Jax and Motaro do the throwdown there.
Yeah.
Just have a little bit of fun with it, I suppose. Because someone was pointing this out, and it's something that I really, really liked about the Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, was that something that latest depictions of the Centaurs and the Shokans are doing, which is really cool, is that, and it really goes to show you why Liu Kang is really the only sort of Shaolin that can take these kind of monsters on. Like, a love tap from a Shokan is going to hit like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like, they're just that stupidly strong. Like physically strong. Like, one punch from them and you'll just be seeing Tweety birds. Like it's all over if they can, like, one solid hit from a centaur and all, and like you're just down for the rest of the fight. Yeah, I really like the depiction of strength in some of the sub bosses.
Yeah, and they've always been good, like Goro, Kintaro, Motaro. They were all, just really tough to beat.
Oh, Kintaro was always the worst for me. Like, I must have sunk like 50-something bucks into trying to do that for real. Motaro, he's probably a little bit on the easier side, but he because they've done him 3 times, like they've done him in MK3, UMK3, and in Trilogy, he behaves so differently in those 3 games.
Yeah, okay.
Like in Mortal Kombat 3, he's an absolute beast for me. I don't know what it is. Like in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, I have a little bit of an easier time with him. I don't know if they've eased him up or whatever in that one. But in Trilogy, I have to take a couple of cracks at him in that as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you got to have the 2. Yeah, the cape comes back. I remember that was an error that you pointed out to me once. Yes.
Yes.
Without your weapons, you are no match for Motaro. I believe that's the quote on his MK wiki as well. So for such a terrible movie, they love quoting Motaro from this movie, don't they? Well, he probably doesn't even speak in any of the games. That's probably why.
You know, these guys that rag on this movie, you go into their closet, there's like a box full of MK Annihilation DVDs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah,
they love it.
Yeah, like you hate it so much. Like, you're the biggest closet fan of Annihilation in
that
the
they
world.
could, quote every line from it.
Yeah, like they hate Mortal Kombat Annihilation. They're one of those. The first one was good, but the rest suck kind of guys, right? Okay, but you've seen Annihilation more times than any of the other two films put together. It's this weird sort of phenomenon in fandoms, isn't it, where you can't talk about, like what's publicly quote unquote, the one that people hate the most.
Yeah, well, it's an internet phenomenon. Hate watching is a thing. I always like the interplay between the fights as well. It doesn't linger too long on one, so you get bored. It does a good job of intercutting all of them, and the ebb and flow, and as our heroes now are getting the upper hand.
Yeah, this
It's
kind
really
of
good.
battle royale, which is something totally different from the first film, where it was just Liu Kang and Shang Tsung, because everyone else at
Yeah,
that point in the tournament had been annihilated.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kitana.
that's right, Kitana. Yeah, I tell you, yeah. I think Jax here really does a good job of embodying how I felt when I beat Motaro for the first time, and how he just sort of collapses there. Like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when you finally do get the one up on a sub boss, it is a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I think most men at this day and age know that, it might sound good on paper, but in theory, it's not a good place to be in. In between Sonya's legs, ask Kano how
Yeah.
great it was. Ask Ermac how great that was. Like, on paper, it sounds great, guys. I mean, like, yeah, I'm all for it as well. But ask the other two guys that have been there; they're both dead.
Shinnok's off to the side.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video once, and it was talking about like the dangerosity of your villains. The more smug that your villain is, the less dangerous that they are. And like the amount of shit talking that Shao Kahn has been doing, like it's a well established metric. Like the more smug you are, the less dangerous you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we've gone. And then what does I do like the but not good enough. Yeah. What does Shao Kahn turn into exactly?
He's a Hydra.
Yeah, okay. I don't believe he had an animality in the game. This is entirely made up for the film.
Yeah, okay.
One thing that I found interesting though, when they turn back after they fall off this structure here, when Shao Kahn turns back, he kind of like his Hydra form is just kind of sitting there rotting next to him, like he shedded it.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, whereas I think Liu Kang pretty much turned right back to normal straight away. And I mean, like, this is about what you would expect for CGI in 97. Like, this isn't too far removed from the effects of Deep Rising.
Yeah, it's ambitious as hell, but yeah, it's looking a bit rough these days.
Yeah, you'll notice here, yeah, when Shao Kahn turns back into his... Yeah, you can sort of just see his Hydra body just laying there. It's blinking, you miss it. It's always kind of stuck out to me that it might just be the age of the effect, and that Brian Thompson, Shao Kahn, has got claw marks all over him now. Something that he retained from the Beast mode.
Yeah.
Now, these two beings that show up in a moment here, are they the embodiment of the elder gods that he was talking to, or that Raiden
Yes,
was...
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't really explain that, does it? And there's only two of them. I thought there was three.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What happened to the third guy? He guess he's busy.
Yeah, what, there was wind, water, and fire. Where the hell is the other one gone?
But 90% of this movie, they don't get around to explaining. We won't split hairs with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, no, I won't either. But the point that you were making of that kind of sloppiness does tend to snowball throughout the film. Like at this point, well, the whole reason we're fighting Lynch is on those two morphing. Where the fuck's the third one?
Yeah.
They probably forgot there even was a third one when they were doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, What do you think? I suppose we should talk about it. What do you think of the Mortal Kombat techno song that everyone seems to really enjoy these days?
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible piece of music. It it was just so memorable back in the 90s, and it still is to this day when you hear that beat and you hear I love how just excited that guy is. It's not just Mortal Kombat. He just screams it. He screams it from the depths of his soul.
Yeah, I mean, how much enthusiasm do you want? Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just yes. Yeah, I really sort of yeah, like at this point, all I want. All I wanted Shao Kahn to say when he had him with that headlock just before was just, "Yeah, you're a dead man, Lou. Bullshit,"
Yeah,
because he just fucking wails him here, doesn't he?
yeah. And I like the cuts back to Shinnok, who realizes he's about to get stiffed.
And rightly so. And one little effect here that I like, some people pointed out as, oh, they couldn't be asked getting the framing right of the shots. I actually really like the when it cuts back to Lou, it sort of completely changes when things get rebuilt around him. It's just
Yeah,
two different angles as the dimensions come apart. And I think we get a shot of the two towers, don't we? And
yeah, and yeah, some iconic landmarks around the world as Shinnok gets banished to the Phantom Zone.
yeah, like what? Yeah, Paris, the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, the two towers. I remembered that stuck out. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then the Order of Light. I always like the sort of rollback, especially the one with the bridge and the towers. Because I remember thinking about that, because that always sort of hung with me a bit when everything was returning back to normal. It was just a very interesting shot for a Mortal Kombat film.
yeah. This is I like the ending where everything's back to normal. It's something that I kind of think the MCU that has 1 billion times the resources as a production like this does is I like how everything's back to normal and no one has any memory of
Hmm.
what the last 6 days. Do you think maybe sometimes because the MCU is such a mess now, maybe when they kill Thanos and everyone comes back, they probably made a misstep having everyone remember and having a 5 year gap and all that because now it's just sort of weird.
The world's
Whereas
gonna end. All right.
yeah, well, because yeah, I like how everything's just back to normal and they're the only ones that have memory of what just happened.
It's like, yeah, the Emperor's back. All right, he was behind it all along. All right, he's got a new army of Death Stars. All right, he's Rey's grandfather. All right.
Yeah, by then you've mentally checked out like an hour ago.
I don't know if the game's ever dipped into this, but the romance between Liu Kang and Kitana, was that ever a game thing? I don't
No, I
think it
don't believe
was.
so. Although some things, like how Kano's an Australian, I think some elements have now worked their way back into the game.
Yeah.
Because yeah, from memory, I don't think there was a romance plot with Liu Kang and Kitana, but I like it. I liked it in this film, and I liked it in the first film as well. So
Yeah, I was going to say another thing that you mentioned Kano there. I believe Liu Kang, for what, the first two games, had short hair.
yeah,
And when the film comes out, they take Robin Shou's long hair because in MK3 he pretty much looks exactly like he does in the film.
yeah, it's
Uh,
really cool.
so some things do make it around, and pretty much every depiction since then has always channeled how he looked in these two movies.
Yeah. Well, they must be fans of it because is it John Boone or John Tobias? He's got a story credit, so
Yeah,
the guys who
Ed Boon.
created
Yeah,
it had a hands-on role in it. So yeah, and I was surprised. There's 10 minutes of credits. I'm not sure what the average running time of a movie credits are, but these things just went on forever last night. I sort of like to peruse the closing credits to spot any names or anyone's work I'm familiar with, but I'm thinking, Christ, this should have ended 20 minutes ago. um,
It's funny how that works, isn't it? So yeah,
Yeah.
we're basically cheated out of 10 minutes. 10 minutes of credits. Wow. Like I don't
Yeah.
even think Spider-Man 1 had that. Like I think those
Yeah, I
credits
know,
were
right?
over like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, these things just go on forever.
Yeah, Lynn Red
The
Williams was
Jax,
yeah, Jax, yeah.
because yeah, a lot of these um, Rhino Shown, I think that was Ermac, but I'm not sure. Masetta Vander was Sindel.
Oof. Well, Daron McBee there. That was Motaro.
Yeah, Lightfoot was Nightwolf, and James Remar, the one and only.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, the star of the show. Yeah, no, but someone told me that he got his pecker out in a TV show, so it's not the same relationship anymore.
Yeah, right.
Well, hey, man, hey, if the money is there, we do not care. Well, I also think maybe the reason why these credits drag on for a little bit is that they're only showing like one name like per
Yeah,
slide. Like there's probably quite a few producers, not just the one. Let's do them all in one hit.
yeah, yeah. Probably had it written into their contracts.
I will say after dipping back into Mortal Kombat for the last week or so, it does have a strength to it that pretty much every other fighting game doesn't. I wish to God Street Fighter would have the sort of world building that Mortal Kombat has. It's such just the kind of a rich library that they have, like with Outworld, Adenia, the Shokens, like especially like the Tigra as well, and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff, like the Takatans, the Cyber Ninjas, and like pick the continuity that you want. It all lines up. Like I wish to God someone at Capcom would do that for Street Fighter, but I guess that ship has sailed. Mortal Kombat has a very, very rich history, and if it's to the point now where, like as you were saying earlier, 2011 was a hard reboot for the series, and then they started doing their own thing with that continuity, and it's just had another one like a couple of months ago. Like wow, like it became that dense that they've had to do it twice now.
yeah. And I think what really helps them is John Boone and Ed Tobias, or Ed Boone and John Tobias. I think like they're still very hands-on with the property.
Yeah,
That's
I've heard John's tapped out a couple of times,
yeah,
but
okay. Yeah,
I've also heard that he's come back a couple of times.
yeah.
It
Because I
all,
think I saw their names on the some of those animated films that have come out fairly recently.
I'll have to check out that Johnny Cage one. And
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I considered watching them in order, like starting with that Scorpion one, but I don't know. For some reason, that one, the latest one, the one with Johnny Cage, caught my eye, and it's not great, but I enjoyed it. I
but
thought
it's
it was
not. But is it trying to be great? Like it's like when people. And I'll never understand that. If you were going into Mortal Kombat Annihilation expecting, the writing and the directing and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like, isn't that the definition of setting yourself up for disappointment?
yeah.
It's like
Well,
I saw like apparently Mufasa outgrossed Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I'm literally watching grown men talk about the like Academy achievements of these projects. Fuck's sake, guys! Like,
yeah,
have a look at what you're talking about.
yeah. We probably shouldn't be, looking at these things on that level. It's it's always going to be sort of judged, and people, from what I read, I didn't want to sort of peruse too much because I plan to, like I said, watch it this weekend. The reviews and reaction to this latest one wasn't all that crash hot either. Despite it, I mean, it looks like a much more polished film than the one we just watched. But
Yeah.
you sort of quickly peruse some reviews and reactions of that Mortal Kombat film from a year or two ago, and like not many people really enjoyed that either. So for people who sort of think, oh man, they've got it right now. It's no, not particularly, not sort of gauging some of the audience reaction. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how it goes when I sit down to watch it.
Now, apparently, this was going to. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. I might check it out this weekend as well. Well, apparently, it's done well enough to get a sequel.
Yeah,
This was supposed to get a sequel. Apparently, I think it was called Mortal Kombat Devastation.
yeah, okay,
Not too sure how far along that actually got before they decided to jilt it, or the reasons behind why they did. Because I believe, as far as I'm aware, this had a very limited theatrical release in Australia.
yeah. I could have sworn it came direct to video, but yeah, I'm guessing it played at least in a couple of places because yeah, the first one definitely came to movie theaters. But
Yeah.
I remember seeing the trailer for this in a video store, and yeah, just one day it was there. I was thinking maybe it was yeah just released straight direct to video, but yeah, I guess it would have got a limited release here.
Yeah, because I remember they did a similar thing with Pokemon 2000. Everyone was like, "Oh, did you see the new one at the movies?" I'm like, "It wasn't at the movies, mate. Where'd you see it?" "Oh, I was in Brisbane for it." "Oh, well, you probably had a limited screening of it there." Um, Spoiler alert: in rural areas like mine, they don't take punts on things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I reckon it's time that we continue this version in comic book form. Although one thing that was interesting about this is that there was no cliffhanger at the end of this one, and there was nothing to really sort of set up another sequel. So the fact that they were kicking around the idea of doing a third one, like what would that be?
yeah, it's intriguing to think about because Mortal Kombat 4, the focus moves away from Outworld onto the Nether Realm that Shinnok is the ruler of.
Yeah,
And yeah, and I kind of it didn't surprise me when the games pivoted back to Outworld because Mortal Kombat 4 is not a bad game, but you just kind of felt it was missing something because you have all these cool characters from Outworld, but yeah, once Shao Kahn was finally defeated, they because there's a lot of new characters in MK4 as well, but they're all from the Nether Realm, and there's a couple of other sort
yeah,
of
like
evil.
Jarek, I think, was one, and
Yeah, and
like
like
Quan
recast.
Chi.
Yeah, so
Any favorite fatalities from the game, from the
uh,
trilogy?
yeah, no, because I never really went in for that. There's some combos that I didn't mind pulling off, but yeah, the fatalities weren't as popular as they were. They weren't really what I played the game for. Like I like the mythology and the story and the character designs and all that kind of stuff about Mortal Kombat, not necessarily the sort of finishing moves. So, and I was never particularly good at the game. Like I had completed it a couple of times, but I was never like an outstanding sort of player at it. I'd probably rate myself about average playing the first three games. But I just love the story and the characters, and I've had a lot of fun revisiting it this week. And like since last Sunday, yeah, it's really put me in a good mood. I watched that Johnny Cage movie, and I sat down and watched this. It took me 3 nights, but I finally got through it. I'm
All right,
obviously
so it wasn't Citizen Kane, but it wasn't that bad, was it?
yeah, well, like not because I was bored, but I just kept getting interrupted.
Yeah.
But I finally knocked it over yesterday in preparation for tonight, and yeah, I've had fun reading about the history of the game, and there's a good book. Well, it looks like a good book by Ian Flynn coming out later in the year about just chronicling its visual history since 1992. Because I do remember the games, that initial those initial games when they came out, they were huge in the 90s. So it brought back a lot of sort of good memories from that era as well. They were the talk of the playground, at least in my sort of generation, back in the sort of early to mid 90s.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've really had fun revisiting the whole property this week, and yeah, it's not over yet. Like we mentioned, there's a there's a few more. I want to watch the new film, and I want to check out some more of those Legends films. So Yeah, if I enjoy them, who knows? I might even give one of these later games a go.
Yeah, I must say, yeah, and I can't even remember what it was that just sort of, like, I don't know, the Mortal Kombat bug just sort of bit me this week because like I remembered some quotes from this movie,
Yeah,
and I was just sort of working them in through my working day, and then it just got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I really want to watch Annihilation. Um,
yeah,
and
nice.
then it kind of just took over from there, and then I went back and I watched the first one, and been mucking around on some of the games. I did pick up MK11 on the Switch, but I never really got around to sitting down and really giving it a crack. And now this new one's come out. I might see if I can't grab it on Steam and see what it's all about. But yeah, no, I'll definitely be keeping up the Mortal Kombat trend probably over the next week, and then who knows what we'll fall into after that.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, I think everyone just needs to relax, and if you like Mortal Kombat Annihilation like we do, don't be afraid to say it. And yeah, anything in that regard?
yeah. No, I've had fun talking about it tonight. So yeah, let's do it again next week.
Sounds like a plan.